September 16th, 2025, 6:13 p.m. local time, Southern Caribbean Sea. The sun is dropping toward the horizon. The waters are calm, but the atmosphere is anything but. The USS Ronald Reagan, a Nimitz-class nuclear-powered supercarrier, a floating city of steel, bristling with aircraft, weapons, and sensors, one of the most powerful warships on Earth. A Venezuelan Navy Gary-class patrol vessel, smaller, lighter, far outclassed in raw firepower, but tonight, maneuvering with intent. This encounter is about to become one of the tensest standoffs in the Caribbean since the Cold War. At 21 nautical miles, the carrier's radar first picked up the Venezuelan vessel. At first, nothing unusual. Slow speed, steady heading. But then, things changed. This wasn't an innocent pass. This was a deliberate intercept. On board the carrier, every watch officer and every console in the Combat Information Center came alive. Logs were started. Timers were set. One wrong assumption here could mean the difference between a tense maneuver and an international crisis. The Ronald Reagan's SLQ-32 electronic warfare suite came online, listening to every radar ping and signal emission from the Venezuelan vessel. Long-range optics locked in, feeding high-definition visuals back to the bridge. On deck, the 5-inch naval gun slowly rotated into position. Not aimed, not firing, but visible. A quiet, deliberate message: we are ready. Within minutes, it was inside 2.1 nautical miles, dangerously close by naval standards. On its deck, movement was clear. Venezuelan sailors wearing helmets, shifting positions near their forward-mounted gun. Not manned yet, but too close for comfort. The Ronald Reagan's bridge fell silent. Everyone was watching, waiting for the next move. And then, the U.S. sent its own unmistakable signal. A catapult launch thundered across the deck. An FA-18E Super Hornet took to the skies. The Super Hornet roared overhead, banking hard before dropping to low altitude. Its engines rattled windows across the Venezuelan ship as it made its presence felt. From its underbelly, a green laser pulsed, flashing across the Venezuelan bridge windows. Not a weapon, but a non-lethal warning impossible to ignore. Then came the broadcast. In English, then in Spanish. Venezuelan naval vessel. You are operating unsafely in international waters. Alter course immediately. At the same time, the fighters advanced FLIR sensors, forward-looking infrared cameras locked onto the patrol ship. Thermal imagery, high-resolution visuals, all geotagged and recorded. Not just for intelligence, not just for awareness, but as legal proof if this standoff went too far. The message was crystal clear. We see you. We are ready. And we are recording everything. Slowly, the Venezuelan ship began to ease off. Its wake shortened. Its speed dropped from 26 knots to 24, then 22. A subtle course correction followed. Not a full retreat, but no longer an aggressive intercept. Then, finally, a voice on the radio. United States naval vessel, we are conducting sovereign patrol duties in proximity to Venezuelan waters. It wasn't an apology, it wasn't an explanation, but it was a response. The Ronald Reagan's reply was immediate, firm, and measured. This is a U.S. warship conducting lawful transit in international waters. Your maneuvers are unsafe and escalatory. They are being recorded from there. The Venezuelan vessel held distance. 6 miles, 7, then 9. Still visible on radar, still shadowing, but no longer pressing close. The tension was easing, for now. But this encounter didn't happen in isolation. 2 weeks earlier, on September 2nd, 2025, U.S. drones had neutralized 2 Venezuelan smuggling vessels. They were suspected of carrying synthetic opioids bound for U.S. shores. The strikes were clean, controlled, and carried out in international waters. Caracas was furious. In the days that followed, Venezuelan naval patrols became more aggressive. Ships pushed farther from their coastline. Aircraft buzzed U.S. destroyers with low-altitude flyovers. It was posturing not open war, but political signaling. A way to remind Washington that Venezuela could still push back, even if only symbolically. The standoff with the Ronald Reagan fit that exact pattern. Not an attack, not a mistake, but a calculated move to test, to pressure, and to show defiance. In the end, this wasn't combat. No shots were fired, no missiles launched, but it was warfare of a different kind. Psychological, political, strategic. Venezuela wanted to send a message. We are not afraid. The U.S. sent its own. We will not be provoked. The Ronald Reagan's crew remained professional, controlled, documenting every move. Venezuela pressed, but ultimately backed away. In this kind of encounter, restraint isn't weakness, it's strategy. Because every radar ping, every radio call, every second of FLIR footage can be used later in diplomacy, in media, even at the United Nations. And in this case, the facts spoke louder than any weapon. By 6:40 p.m., the Venezuelan vessel was holding steady, 9 miles off the Reagan's starboard quarter. No longer a threat, just a shadow fading into the twilight. The encounter ended without missiles or gunfire, just a tense ballet of steel, jet noise, and political theater. But make no mistake, the Caribbean remains a flashpoint, not because of raw firepower, but because of proximity, politics, and perception. So here's the question. Should the United States respond more aggressively to these maritime challenges? Or is calm professionalism, restraint, backed by overwhelming strength, the smarter weapon in the long run? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more real-world naval encounters, where nations posture, challenge, and maneuver at the edge of escalation, make sure to subscribe. Because next time Venezuela decides to play chicken with a U.S. supercarrier, they may find the bird they're chasing is far too big to move.